up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Brandon's Face, the podcast about a playlist. I am one half of your hosting duo. My name is Jonathan Beardsley. As always, I'm joined by one of my best friends, fellow music nerd, and titular face of the podcast, Brandon May. Brandon, how you doing, buddy?
Today, I am doing well. John, you're also one of my best friends.
Aw, thank you. Well, I am currently freezing my ass off in Portland, Oregon, but I have a cup of coffee and a playlist of music to break down with you, so I am very excited nonetheless. But before we get into it, if you're listening to this on YouTube, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You can find us on social media on Instagram at Brandon's Face Pod. If you want to shoot us a message, that's probably the best way to contact us as of now. You can find us on our own website now at brandonsface.com. And you should be able to listen to us with this episode on Spotify. So make sure to follow us wherever you can. Support us any way you can. We really appreciate it. With that out of the way, you ready to get into this, buddy?
I'm ready to get into this, my man. Let's go.
All right. First up, we got an EP you dragged on here, and I'm going to struggle to say the name of the group, so I apologize to them if I offend them, but I'm going to say L'Imperatrice with their EP Sonnet Pacific. This is great. I've never heard of this group before, but I already love them. Their sound is this weirdly perfect combination of French house, disco, and city pop. The whole EP is great. The clear standout for me was the title track. It's just outstanding. It wouldn't have felt out of place on Daft Punk's last album, which is a pretty crazy thing to say. I love everything about this. What are your thoughts on it?
So I love this. It's like almost weird that I had never heard of them. I really like international artists, and most of it's from Australia, but I did really enjoy this, man. I actually threw this EP on here from 2014 because it was recommended on one of the Coachella forums that I frequent. I don't know if you know this about me, John. I'm a huge fan of that festival, and they on these forums, they will have, there's a lot of threads on if you like this artist, then you'll like this artist. And this group kept coming up in, if you like Justice, you're gonna like this. And I said to myself, bet. And then I threw it on and I was like, okay, nope, I get this. That's correct.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And so, yes, I am very familiar with your love of Coachella. We've actually been together. I think I remember watching Jack's Mannequin right next to you one year, if I am remembering correctly. Good times.
Was it Jack's Mannequin or was it Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness?
It was Jack's Mannequin, because I remember Dark Blue.
Yep. Great show.
So great, is this band playing Coachella this year, or are they just being mentioned on the subreddit?
They are on the lineup. They're playing this year. And one of my favorite things to do, obviously, when Coachella lineups come out, regardless of whether or not I'm going, I like to go and find some bands or groups or DJs or producers that I've never heard of, and it really it tends to expand my taste a little bit. And I typically like to do that with the undercard. Because
the magnifying glass names on the flyer.
Exactly, man. I mean, and if you did that in 2013, you'd see a little tiny name called Cascade. And so it's kind of cool, man. It's kind of cool doing that. And so we'll actually get back to this subject a little later in the podcast, but we can move on from Sonata Pacifique.
For sure. That was a great find. Thanks for throwing it on. Next up, we have a single from Buddy, Wait Too Long, featuring Blast, is I think how you pronounce it.
Blixt.
Yes. I really like this song. I think Buddy is criminally underrated. If you haven't heard his album, Harlan and Alondra, please listen to it immediately. This is the rollout for a new album. In fact, I'm sure it is. That album is going to be called Super Ghetto, and it drops March 25th. How did you feel about this track?
This fucking rips, bro. I hadn't heard of either of these people, but I really enjoyed this, man. I was bopping.
Yeah, it's got a good flow to it. This might be a dead week. Maybe I'll throw Buddy's debut album on to catch you up. Next up, we have Future Islands, King of Sweden. I can definitely fuck with this. It's a weird, bizarre blend of synth pop and alternative indie rock that somehow works. How you liking this?
Love it, man. Future Islands is that dad synth indie that I just fucking love, and yeah, I'm here for it. No album announcement yet. I think we've talked about a single of theirs a handful of times, at least once. But they put out an album in 2020, which I really enjoyed, and I like a lot of their music. There's an album that I think is just wall to wall bangers. And it is The Far Field, their 2017 album, and it is just it's an indie rock pillar, I think. So if you haven't listened to that, listen to that, because it is more of this.
I think I've heard it before, but I'll definitely check it out again on your recommendation. Next up, we have Health and Lamb of God, Cold Blood. This is really good. We covered Health a few times on this podcast. I feel like they always come with like this super collaborative approach, and they kind of sound like whoever they're working with, but it's not a bad thing. They have to be one of the most collaborative bands in rock music with how much they work with these other big groups. Lamb of God do their thing on this track. It's nothing we haven't heard from them before, but it's nice to get some metal to cover again. I'm sure you were happy about that.
Finally, some good fucking metal, man. Oh my God. Randy Blythe is just a fucking beast. So this project is actually going to be pretty cool. It's called Disco 4 Part 2. I guess there was a Part 1 that maybe we haven't checked out. I think I'm definitely going to check out the Part 1. It's set to release on 4/8. This is the third single from this project. The first one was 9 Inch Nails that they collabed with. The second one was Poppy. Not a big fan of Poppy on their regular music side, but I did enjoy their Health collaboration and this Lamb of God piece. So, yeah, this is a metal banger, man. This is good. I listened to this a number of times.
Yeah, we covered the 9 Inch Nails song and the Poppy song. I'm looking forward to that release. That should be interesting to break down. I'll throw it on if I see it.
Cool.
Next up, we got Fontaines DC. I Love You.
I love you too, John.
God damn it. Another great song. I'm struggling to find a way to define their music, though. Down-tempo punk rock, aggressive indie rock. On Wikipedia, it says post-punk, but I'd rather shoot myself than say the word post to define a genre of music. Whatever it's called, I like it. Someone needs to put them on tour with King Cruel immediately.
Yeah, man, this is catchy as fuck. I love Fontaines DC. They released an album in 2020. It was on a number of albums of the year. I think it's called A Hero's Death. Yep. And it's very good. I think that they should go on tour with Idols and also with King Cruel. Yeah, man, I think it's called post-punk. I think that's what this is.
I'm not going to say it.
I mean, fair.
This is a single off of their upcoming album Skinta Fia, which comes out April 22nd. So
yes,
we'll be covering
it
that.
Does. Yes, we will. I'm excited for that.
Me too. Next up, we have one you and I were both highly anticipating. Alan Raymond with his next single, Bye Bye Blondie. I think it's pretty obvious. I fucking love this. I'm still a wolf outside your door. I'm still a filthy little whore are the exact kind of lyrics I expect and want when I hit play on an Alan Raymond song. We're now less than a month away from Roadhouse 2, and I can't wait to hear what this album sounds like front to back. What do you think?
Yeah, this was another banger, man. This is probably going to be the last single that we hear until the album drops, and I kind of don't want to listen to the next single. I kind of want to put all of these in the context of his album. So I'm ready, man. Let's go.
Fair. Next up, we have The Colleagues and Freddie Gibbs, Rolex. Jesus Christ. Freddie Gibbs does more in 2 minutes than most modern rappers do over the course of an album. He's just the absolute best.
It's incredible, I have nothing
more
man.
To say about it.
It's incredible, man. He's the GOAT right now, man. And fuck, dude. I don't care who the Colleagues are. This is a Freddie Gibbs song.
Yes, I agree. I hope that the colleagues, I'm assuming they're a producer or a group of producers, hopefully they contributed to Triple S when that comes out because I really like the flow of them working together. This was good.
So, question for you: Freddie Gibbs is on the Coachella lineup, and he is on the Coachella lineup with Madlib. Do you think
Hmm.
that means anything for the upcoming release? Do you think do you think we're going to get another, another
Yeah,
bandana or another
there'll
pinata?
be no, it's not going to be all Madlib. It's Madlib will do a song or two for sure, and I think he's confirmed that much. So
Cool.
I imagine if the album isn't out by that point, that we will hear a new song or two.
Nice. I'm excited
He's
for
been
that.
previewing some new shit on social media when he's not banned on social media. So
Wait, he
if you're
gets
lucky
banned from
enough to
social
check.
media?
Oh my God, constantly. He's had to make Instagram like 4 times, dude. It's hilarious. Um, Jesus, I'll share some legendary Freddie Gibbs social media moments with you on text,
Love
but
that.
let's move on. We got a new one from Lucky Day NWA featuring Lil Durk. I think this is a solid one. Not my favorite of the singles he's released during this album rollout so far, but not bad either. His voice sounds good. It's catchy. The instrumental's good. Obviously, I could have personally done without the Little Dirk verse. Uh, I, I just think anybody that knows us knows that anytime you see like a name like that pop up, we're probably not going to receive it well. But I think despite that, at the end of the day, the song works. What did you think about it?
Yeah,
Meh.
it was
Okay.
okay.
It's just my bias of R&B love setting in.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
It's just not my
Uh,
jam, man. It's just not my
he
jam.
confirmed his album Candy Drip comes out March 10th. So I can't wait to review that one in full. I'm sure you're gonna hate it. I'm sure I'm gonna love it. It's gonna be awesome.
All right.
Uh, next up, we have Kid Cudi and Nigo Want It Bad. I really wanted to like this. Cuddy is a really good dude, and I don't want to say anything negative about him, but this one just didn't do it for me. If
Yeah,
this
this is
was
a miss.
2010, yeah, if this was 2010 and he was playing Audiotistic, then I could fuck with this. But the instrumental just feels so dated now. Despite Kid Cudi being the top billed name on this, I think this is another single off Nigo's upcoming album.
Yeah, it's just a miss, man. It's okay. He's allowed to miss.
Yeah, I agree. That he earned it.
Yeah.
All right.
Audiotistic 2010. That sounds like a good time, bro.
He played it. Were you there? I can't
I
remember.
I went '09. So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
And then what was the
DJ.
tear gas here? Oh no, that was hard.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was hard. I think that was '09 too though. I at Audiotistic '09 I saw Craze, and it was life changing, man. Seeing that guy DJ in like an empty room because everybody was at Afrojack, I was like, yeah, man, this is it.
Yeah, seeing Craze DJ live is just one of the like top moments of my life, and I've seen him I think 3 times. Every time is just so memorable. There's no one that is as in the moment when they're performing like he is. It's insane to watch him do what he does. If you've never seen Craze perform, please see if he's playing at a club near you. It will be one of the greatest shows you've ever seen. I promise you that.
Yes, it will be.
All right. Next up, we got Russ with another song, Real. So I usually only like one Russ song per year, and this is the second one I've liked in 2 months. His instrumentals are so simple, but they're so good. His lyrics can be super cringe at times, but so can a lot of other artists I like. So I really don't knock him for that. What did you think about this one?
It's actually not my favorite of the most recent releases, but it's not bad.
Yeah, it's definitely more R&B. I think I gravitate towards it more because of the instrumental, but
Wait, 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 wait. Are you a fan of R&B?
I also like Genesis series by Zoo. I don't know if I've told you this. All right, so we got another one by Matt Lange, Quiet Symphony. what the fuck is this? Acoustic house, Western techno. I don't like it at all. It's a
You
very
don't?
disappointing follow up to Ordinary Love. No, I hate this.
Wow, that's
You like
surprising to
this?
me. I did.
I didn't enjoy it. No,
All right.
no. You enjoyed it?
I did.
Okay.
Maybe I have a bias. I don't. There's only like a handful of Matt Lange songs I dislike, and um, I mean, I'm gonna listen to this again now. But I remember I listened to it. I know at least twice, and I didn't have the urge
listen
to
to
turn it
Ordinary
off.
Love and then listen to it, and then just like
Okay.
you kind of know the way my brain works at this point. Um, but yeah, I think based on the album art, maybe this is an album rollout. If he does have an album coming out soon, I'm very excited to hear it in full, despite my reaction to this song.
Yeah, same. This dude's a
Uh,
beast. Did you know that he's won
oh
4 Grammys?
no, I had no idea.
I
That's
don't know what
insane.
for, but I saw somewhere that he had won 4 Grammys, and I was like, "What the fuck? How is this guy not huge, man?" I
Yeah, we're
think they're
gonna
all
have to
like,
look into that.
I think
That's
they're all
crazy.
production credits or something, but still,
Yeah, that's still very impressive.
yeah,
That's not an accomplishment a lot of much better known artists have. So props to him. That's sick.
right.
All right. Next up, we have Ed Sheeran, Bad Habits featuring Bring Me the Horizon. I don't really know what to say about this. The live version of this that they did at the Brit Awards was horrible. This isn't much better, but it's mixed a little bit better. It literally just sounds like they took the original acapella for Bad Habits and put it over a generic modern Bring Me the Horizon instrumental. They try to make you think it's going to be a lot heavier than it is, but Ollie doesn't scream until the last 15 seconds. Everything about this song and that performance was just way too try hard for me. Did you feel any differently?
Um, 7. There's 7 millennial whoops in this song from "Bring Me the Horizon." I'm done, man. I'm just so done with this band, dude.
Sadly, I'm not. I am always the Michael Scott meme that I'm ready to get hurt again every time. I enjoy, like, I do prefer, Suicide Season through Sempiternal more than I've enjoyed their last 2 or 3 projects, but I do like the band they are now. And I think for what modern rock music has become, they don't make bad music. But oh man, it's just
"Bring Me the
seeing
Horizon"
them.
is the Papa Roach of deathcore. And what really
That's
pisses me
fair.
off, John,
That's
is that
fair.
the scream at the end proves that he can still do it.
Of course.
I thought, well, maybe his vocal cords are fucked up, and like maybe he's just trying to protect his voice, and maybe we'll get another like couple of full songs. I'm not even like expecting a full album of Suicide Season style music anymore, but like I'm hoping for a song or two, but like nah, man, I'm just this.
Okay, hold on. I'm not going to defend them as a band because I think they've gone downhill, but I do think that they've done what people are asking them to do. They're never going to do Pray for Plagues 2. But if you go off like their last EP, the post-human survival horror one, yeah, it has weird shit like Parasite Eve. But Dear Diary and Teardrops are both great songs. And Dear Diary is like thrash the entire time. I recommend going back and listening to that
Maybe I
because
will.
I think a lot of their modern stuff gets lumped together unfairly when they do try to appease their past fans. But no, they even on recent tours, they've done medleys of stuff from like, Pray for Plagues and Suicide Season, but that's just not the band they are anymore. It's very similar to Panic at the Disco. I'm not a fan of anything they made after 9 in the afternoon. And when you see them live, you might get 9 in the afternoon and I Write Sins, and you think, oh, everyone's got to be mad about this. No, there's an entire generation of fans that they have that discovered them after those years that love them for the stuff they discovered them from. And it's hard to accept, but it's definitely the reality of the situation.
Okay, I will go back and listen to it just because you asked me to.
Okay. Thank you, buddy. That's all I wanted. All right. Next up, we got Bob Moses, Never Ending. I thought this one was okay. I didn't like it as much as the other singles. Their new album comes out March 4th, so we're gonna hear it pretty fucking soon. What did you think of this single?
Is it March 4th? Their album?
I believe so.
Maybe. Okay. Awesome. I thought it was 429 for some reason. I liked this song. I like Bob Moses. The music video for this song is really cool. I think as a photography nerd, I think you would appreciate it. So I recommend checking out the music video for this song. It's not their best song ever, but I really did enjoy this one, man. I think we've got some cool I think we've got some major music, like instrumental growth, like growth as musicians, and I think this next album is going to be really neat.
I agree. I'm looking forward to it. This one was just missing the guitars. That last single had the guitars, and I was like, "Oh, this is it." But this one just felt like it was missing a layer. Still a good track though.
Fair, fair.
Next up, we got Jack Harlow, Nail Tech. So the reason I threw this one on is the same reason I threw that Nicki Minaj one on. I think you and I are very quick to like scroll past whatever the first song on New Music Friday is because we just ignore mainstream culture. A lot of the time, if it's not an artist we're just quickly familiar with, I suppose. You and I both know Jack Harlow. We've both probably heard What's Poppin' at least 10 fucking times, willingly or not. And I felt like he gets a lot of buzz, so I'd throw this on here. I'm disappointed by it though, man. It's a good flow, but it's just another generic triumphant horns banger like we got with Joey Badass and The Revenge. Did you feel any differently?
I think that Jack Harlow is a great guilty pleasure rapper where you don't need to listen to the lyrics. It's just his confidence that kind of helps him flow through the songs. He's got great producers working behind him, and I think that's basically it. Um, it's all I think almost by default it's going to be overrated, but it's catchy. It's going to be all over the radio, right? So
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I will say that he promotes. He does promote for New Balances, and
Yes. Thank
I'd
you
like
for
to do
bringing
that.
that up.
I'd like to do that.
Thank you for bringing that up. I saw that news get announced like the day before the track came out, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm hoping Brandon's seeing this
Yeah,
because,
man.
oh geez, did they miss an opportunity by not signing you, buddy?"
I
There's
think
always next time.
I think they even did a collab, although I'm not 100% sure.
Oh, I'm sure they did. I'm sure even if it's a shoe they just had laying around and they could stamp his name on it and sell it for a few extra bucks, that's what they did. But
I'm not mad at it. Go New
me either.
Balance.
Me either. Um, Next up, we got Krongben and Leon Bridges, Texas Moon EP. This was solid, but not really memorable to me. I don't really have much to say about it other than it's okay. I think Chocolate Hills is the best song on it, and we talked about that track when it came out a few weeks ago. Did you have any standouts?
So this is actually the second installment of their Texas project with Leon Bridges, and they did a Texas Sun, and now this is Texas Moon. I think it is kind of supposed to be kind of different. I'm sure everybody gets the phrasing here.
Explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old. Man.
So you want to open a lemonade stand. All right. So I actually, dude, I really liked this. It's not something that I'm going to go back to a lot. But it is something that is really easy to listen to. It's musically, like instrumentally, it's fucking great. But it's just not memorable, like you said. I think Leon Bridges does a really good job doing vocals over the music. I mean, his voice is strong, the instrumentals are strong. It's just not memorable. I can dig that. My
I
stand
agree.
my standout was Chocolate Hills because it's the catchiest on the EP.
Oh, it's a jam for sure. I wish that the whole EP had the same level of greatness that song does, but it just doesn't really live up. Oh,
Fair.
you ready to move on?
I am.
All right. Next up, we got Whistleface with a new one. Talk. You want to tell us why you threw this one on here?
So Reddit in the last year or so has been trying out this new live feature where you can scroll through people's live feeds. And every once in a while, I will be up late on a Friday or a Saturday, and 1, 2 a.m. rolls around, and I scroll through Reddit, and I will see Whistleface doing a live mix, and it's always like really good. It's kind of dark on the darker end of the techno tech house spectrum, and I followed him on Spotify, so I didn't forget who he was, because he's clearly an independent artist. I think he has 1,800 monthly listeners on Spotify or something like that. Just wanted to show some love over to him, actually, and this is a decent track. It's not amazing. You can tell that he's young in the production world, or something along those lines. I think it lacks a certain layer, but I thought it was I did think it was good. So what did you think?
I thought it could use a little more polish too, but I agree. It's really fun. Maybe a bit too brief, but it's definitely a party track. I like it.
I think it's for mixing. I think it's just so he has a placeholder to mix, which is something that I think everybody's guilty of a little bit.
I won't judge. All right, you ready to move on?
Let's do it.
All right, next up we got Beats Antique Desert Dream. You and this fucking weird ass snake charming rave music, Brandon. I like the
definitely
song.
A Beats Antique song.
Yes, I like this song more than the last song of theirs that you added, but it still sounds like music to sacrifice things to, but not like in a metal way, in a witchy way, I suppose. Did you like this one?
Are you saying you're opposed to seances?
I am right next to Salem, Oregon. I am all about this life, my friend.
I like it, man. I think it's weird. I think it's different. I think that it is very Burning Man, Do Lab, lightning in a bottle. I think that it's very it's different, bro. There's nobody else making music like this besides Dirtwire, and Dirtwire is Beats Antique is part of the band Dirtwire. So like that they're like the only ones making music like this that I know of. If anybody's listening, correct me.
You know what? You defining them as lightning in a bottle type music made me hate them a little less. So props to you, Brandon. All right.
Nice.
Next up, we got Moat with their song Paradise, the Ame remix. I'm sure I butchered that.
I think it's Ame.
Ame?
I have
that
no
looks
idea.
about right. Sure, we'll go with Ame. I like that.
I have a feeling that the little thing over the A is more fashion than it is function, but I could be wrong.
Who in this track do you know? Are you an Ame fan or a Moat fan, or did you just find this randomly? Okay. And how you liking this one?
Ame does great techno, in my opinion. They've put out a couple of things on Tale of Us's record label. What is it? Afterlife Recordings. I love the strings. I hate a couple of things about this track, but I can't really make up my mind, man. There's like like parts of this track are like really good, and then parts of them just like don't make sense. I don't know. I threw it on because it was Ame, and I need my techno fix every once in a while, and yeah, I guess I've just been searching for techno, or not really looking for new techno, and so I'm just kind of relying on Spotify to tell me who's releasing what, and this was not it, man. Did you like it?
I liked the keys and the bass line, but not really the song as a whole. It had an okay bounce to it, but not something I'm going to be revisiting.
Yeah, fair. Me neither. Let's move on.
Okay, next up, Jesus Christ. I have to say it. Okay. We got The Crystal Method with Post Punk featuring Iggy Pop. It is not a genre of music. It is the title of a song. I don't know if it's because of the song name, but this is a miss for me. I really liked the hard edge that he brought to his remix of Ordinary Love by Matt Lange, but this just felt like too far of a reach. It feels more Bloody Beetroots than Crystal Method to me. What do you think?
I think the Bloody Beetroots copy the Crystal Method, and I think they have for a long time. But I don't like that it's featuring Iggy Pop, because Iggy Pop's not on this song. They had to put that on there to pay him royalties for the samples they used, which is, in my opinion, one of the least punk things for a legendary punk rocker to do. Force people to pay for their samples.
Take your money under the table.
Right, exactly. Go roll around in some glass again, Eggy. They actually have a new album coming out on the 15th of April, which I'm going to be throwing on. So we will be reviewing the whole thing in its entirety. I think I liked it.
Fun thing I learned when you added this song and I looked into Crystal Method, one of them retired and it's just one guy now. I didn't
Oh,
know that.
today I learned. I had no
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Interesting. Yeah. Little note. Little note. All right. Next up, we got Jonas Saalbach, Headlights, the Fur Coat remix. I think this one's featuring Angus Powell. I feel like there's a song every episode where my notes just say techno or trance. This is that song for this episode.
The back half of this song is insane, bro.
Oh, and nuts. Fucking nuts.
Oh man, Fur Coat did it again. Yeah, this is
Yes.
good. This is good.
Terrific.
Thank you,
Terrific.
Fur Coat.
Thank you. Next up, we got a remix of In the Dark by Purple Disco Machine and Sophie Giant. This is the Oliver Heldens remix. I think this is a good remix for live shows, but I still like the original more.
Yeah, that's kind of what my notes say too. The original version of this song is very good, and the remix is also very good. But I will say, I like that Oliver Heldens kept Sophie and the Giants' voice as the main part of the song. That's what stands out to me the most, is that her voice just is ubiquitous in this song, insofar that the music doesn't take anything away from it, and she's kind of the driving force of the song. So I liked that.
That's a good note, actually. I really like it when remixes preserve the integrity of the lead vocal. I like the song to still be recognizable in some form. Manipulate it all you want, but make it still recognizable of what the song is. All
Yep.
right, you ready to move on?
Let's do it.
We got Fred again and India Jordan. Admit it, you don't want to. Uh, really creative way to build a song using mostly loops, I think. But this was a weird one. I liked it. I'm really not sure how I felt about it, like long term. What did you think?
So this is another one of those artists that I find on the Coachella subreddit, Coachella forums, and other things. And if you like insert house music artist, you'll like Fred again. And he like kept coming up, and it kept like bothering me that I guess I hadn't heard him. So I saw this post up. This is a new one from him. People can't stop talking about him. I really liked this. It is rudimentary, but I still really liked it. He's using old sounds that I haven't heard since the early 2000s. Like that synth line that he uses throughout this song. I have not listened to much of his music except for this, but it is enticing me to go listen to more of it. I really wanted to hear what your thoughts were, because I put this on and I was like, I don't know, man. And then you're the same, man. I don't know, man. So
Yeah, I mean, if you really liked it, I'll revisit it. I really only listened to it the two times when I kind of was just doing my notes, and it was kind of in one ear out the other both times. It wasn't something really memorable to me, but I thought it was good.
you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like, do you remember when Sonny Moore did his project Sonny before he did Skrillex?
Gypsy Hook, yep.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that, where you can tell he's a young producer. You can tell he's just fucking around with FL Studio or Ableton, and he's able to put things into a structure that kind of works. But I think he should blossom into something bigger and better. Maybe I'll listen to more of his music also, because I wasn't turned off at all by this, but it was interesting. So figured I'd share some.
For sure. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. We have Destiny by Destroy, Rebuild Until God Shows.
Drugs.
Yes. I am so fucking stoked to see Drugs releasing new music. I'm not sure if you or any of our listeners know who this band is, so I'll do a little history lesson.
Craig fucking Owens,
Um,
bro.
yes. Craig Owens, who rose to scene fame as the iconic frontman of Chiodos. After their first two albums, he left the band or was let go of the band for reasons unknown to the public. And after leaving Chiodos, he started joining and founding a variety of side projects such as Cinematic Sunrise, Isles and Glaciers, a self-titled solo project, Destroy, Rebuild Until God Shows, and has most recently been performing and releasing music under the name Bad X Channels, not including his work in the Sound of Animals Fighting discography as well. So he's a busy dude, but Destroy, Rebuild Until God Shows, or Drugs, is the band we're talking about right now. They released their first album back, their first and only album back in 2011. If you haven't heard it, then we should definitely throw it on the playlist next week because I
I'm
think you'll
down.
like it. This album was produced by Howard Benson, who produced classics like Three Cheers for Sweet Revenge by My Chemical Romance, as well as countless others. This album is as good as you'd think it would be for Howard Benson producing a Craig Owens band, but it just didn't really seem to gain popularity outside of the people who were big Craig Owens fans at the time. The scene was kind of on its last breath and was going through that weird transitional phase from being cool new thing to assumed to be nostalgic thing. And the only bands doing big numbers at the time were Bring Me the Horizon, Pierce the Veil, and Sleeping with Sirens. So by 2012, Craig Owens was back in Chiodos and Drugs officially disbanded. I'm not sure if they have plans for a new album or if this is just a one-off single, but they are currently on tour, so I don't think this is it for them quite yet. There's been some lineup changes though that I noticed. The band used to have Matt Good from First to Last and Nick Martin of Sleeping with Sirens, but is now just comprised of Craig Owens doing lead vocals, Jonah Weinhofen, who was previously in I Killed the Prom Queen, Bring Me the Horizon, and Bleeding Through, as well as Aaron Patrick on bass, who was recently in All That Remains. What do you think of this song?
Well, number one, I fucking love the song. And I'm a big Craig Owens fan. Huge Chiodos fan back in the day, man. All's Well That Ends Well is
Yeah.
it's an iconic piece of art, just front to back.
Top 10 scene album.
Easy. like no doubt, man. It's super easy. Yeah, I really liked this, and I hope this is a new album. I have listened to the first album from Drugs, but honestly, I had forgotten about them, man. And I think it's because, like you said, the scene was dying. The scene was all but dead in 2011. You know, I mean, 2006 to 2009. Those were the years, man. You know, like that was a great 3 year run for pop punk and emo and screamo and hardcore, and it was. I think it was a forgotten album, but yeah, I'm down to throw it on next week so we can chat about it because it's been a long time since I've listened to that one.
For
As
sure.
soon as I saw you threw this on the album or on the playlist, and I went ahead and listened to the song, took my notes, I immediately threw on All's Well That Ends Well because have to.
You have to.
So
Yes. Yeah, Katie and I listen to All's Well That Ends Well at least once a month. That's a staple in this
yeah,
in
it's
this
a
house.
good album.
Dude, I am obsessed with that album. We should do a top 10 scene albums pod one day. That'd be fun.
I think we definitely should do something about the scene because the kids nowadays are trying to bring emo back, bro.
That's a conversation for
It's
another
it's
pod.
coming
I can't
back,
even
man.
get into that yet. Oh man. Okay. So next up we have the Afghan Wigs, I'll Make You See God. This is one you just threw on yesterday. So really fresh song. I
Yeah,
think
man.
it's fantastic, but I have no idea who this band is. Should I?
Yes, absolutely, you should. This was a huge surprise. The Afghan Wigs are a band from the early 90s. They started releasing music, I think 1990 was their first album. And they have made some great, I don't know if you want to call it alternative rock, just rock. You want to call it grunge. It kind of fits in that kind of category. Yeah, man, they've put out some great fucking music. And it's weird because You think about bands that have been like, I think about this all the time, where the Rolling Stones and the Beatles overshadowed probably hundreds, if not thousands, of bands of that time, and I'll probably never get to hear a lot of the music that would have been really good. I think Nirvana, bands like Nirvana and Pearl Jam and Soundgarden overshadowed bands like the Afghan Wigs, where you've got great music getting pumped out, but it's just not enough to compete in that kind of market. I think they did great numbers back in the day, but I saw this song come out and I was tripping. I thought Spotify must have made a mistake, right? So I listened to it and I was like, nope, that's Greg Dooley. That's the lead singer. It's definitely the Afghan Wigs. And I searched online. I couldn't find fucking anything, man. It wasn't anywhere. There was no announcement. There was no press. There was no this is coming out sort of thing. They just put it out at 9:00 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I listened to it like 5 times that night. It's very good. It fucking rips. Now that it's been a few days, we have maybe 2 days. Yesterday, it's been a day, and they have announced that this is their song, number one, so Spotify didn't fuck up. And it's actually going to be featured in Gran Turismo 7, which I think is really fucking cool. I think it's going to be great for that game. And I would be very surprised if we don't have an impending album by the end of this year.
Fuck yeah, that's awesome, dude. I can't wait to
If you have not
hear
heard the
this
Afghan
shit.
Wigs, if you think next week's going to be a slow week, I'm going to throw some Afghan Wigs on the playlist so we can talk about it next week.
Yeah, do your favorite album or like a medley of your favorite songs for sure.
Yeah, man, we'll do.
Sounds good. So next up, we got Coheed and Cambria, the Liars Club. They have not lost a fucking step, man. This is a solid track. I'm picking up a little bit of My Chemical Romance, Black Parade vibes from it, but it's good shit. What'd you think?
This Coheed has to be one of the most consistent bands of ever. Like they just
Totally.
it's insane. They're very good. It's funny. My brother-in-law, shout out to Logan, went and saw Coheed and Cambria at Pappy and Harriet's, and ended up they ended up premiering this song there at the live show, and he couldn't stop talking about it. Somebody had taken a video. He couldn't stop listening to it. He was like, they've got to release it, and he beat me to. I went to go text him the link to the song, and he beat me to it by about 2 minutes. So, yeah, man, it's good. Claudio's voice is fucking great on this one. And I'm excited for more. New album comes out on 5/27. I forget what it's called at the moment, but I know that it comes out in May, late May.
We will definitely be covering it.
Yes, we will.
All right. So that wraps it up for the singles and EPs for the week. You ready to move on to the albums?
Please tell me about what you thought about Marty Robbins, sir.
All right. So first up, we got Marty Robbins, Gunfighter Ballads and Trail Songs. This is one you threw on because last week you'd mentioned during our Orville Peck Bronco Chapter 1 review that this is your favorite country album of all time. I was very excited to hear it. I can't believe I've never heard this album before. It's incredible. Within 5 minutes of starting this, I was playing Red Dead Redemption. When did Western music become country music? You know?
Right.
I'm glad artists like Orville Peck are trying to keep aspects of this era alive. I noticed that a few of the songs had a really high play count, so I looked into it, and apparently a song or two from this album was on an old-timey radio station in Fallout 4, which led to an entirely new generation of people discovering this album and the fucking incredible songs within it. It's just another example of how great music really does transcend generations, and this is just perfect, man. Songs that my grandparents listened to are now playing in modern video games. That's just
you love to
really,
see it.
Really cool to me. Yeah. I love breaking down new music with you, but like learning about the historical significance of albums is fucking incredible to me too. I just love the process. And as somebody who primarily listens to R&B, rap, pop, and EDM, I wasn't sure how much I would like this, but it's just a great album, honestly. Like the title says exactly what you're getting. I personally like
the there's no hyperbole there.
No, it is very literal. Personally, I like the Gunfighter Ballads a little more than the Trail songs, but his voice is so good that I was legitimately captivated listening to him sing about drinking cold water.
Right.
Um, yeah. Thanks for showing me this album, man. I gave it a
You're
10 out of
welcome.
10. Big Iron and El Paso were my easy standouts.
It's a perfect album, right?
Yeah. Oh, this is after hearing it, you can hear the influence it had on music after it. I think when I looked it up on Wikipedia, like one of the quotes was like one of the best post World War II pieces of music, which hell of a declaration
Yeah,
right
right.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
this was great. It blew me away, man.
So you know how much I like story albums, and this is that, man. You've got what is it? They're hanging me tonight, where he talks about his girl cheating on him, so he kills them both. Like this album, man, it's so special. You see why when I heard Orville Peck, I was like, oh, gotta listen to Marty now, right?
Yeah. Oh, totally. Totally. Yeah. It's just like whenever you hear something good about that type of music, you want to enjoy the other best parts of it. And now, like, when I hear shit like that, it's going to make me gravitate towards albums like this as well. This was phenomenal.
Yeah, man. And so his inflection as he's speaking and singing, God, his voice is beautiful. The simple instrumentation, just Marty's voice is just, oh, wow, man. The way each song tells a story, I find this album comforting, man. It's funny though, when you listen to it, the lyrics are kind of like a combination of wholesome love songs and gnarly murder. So there's that. It's kind of like I really wish like Brother Lynch Hung could like take the lyrics to "They're Hanging Me Tonight" and put it over some sack down fucking gangster rap beats, because I think it would translate. I really do. It's not instrumentally like incredible, right? Like it's really simple. But this is an amazing album, man. It works. There's no skips. It's a 10 out of 10, man. Running Gun, I think, is my favorite. What was your favorite again?
I liked Big Iron and El Paso.
El Paso's good. El Paso's a good one. Yeah, man. This is my favorite country album. I'm glad I got to show it to you.
Yeah, it's definitely mine, but that's not a high bar for me yet. So
I
we'll
mean,
see.
it's not a high bar for me either, but when you hear country today, and every time I think of country music, this album comes to mind. I can't listen to the new country because it's just not this. Like, I know that this is Western music, but it's country music, bro. Like, this is what country music came out of, and I don't know, man. Love this album. He actually just recently repressed it on vinyl, and it's only like $10, so I think I might grab it.
Oh shit! I was gonna ask you, what's the vinyl market like on this one?
They've repressed it recently, so
Dirt cheap, apparently.
yeah. So
Hell yeah.
yeah, I'm here
His
for that.
estate, man, they're like 5 cents was a lot to this guy. He'd be stoked on $10. No, it's funny actually. This album came out in what, the late 50s?
1959.
Yeah, like it's funny how when something came out before you were born, you think that it's depicting the time that it was made, you know?
Yeah.
And like the 60s were not at all the Wild West, and
No.
he makes you
No, no,
feel
no.
like it fucking was.
No. Homie lived in Arizona and probably had a decent life on a ranch, but
Yeah, it's fairy tales, which is, I just love it, man. It's great. Thanks again
good.
for showing me.
I'm so glad you liked it, man.
All right, so next up we got Stormzy, Gang Signs and Prayer. I laugh because it's kind of a jarring transition to go from Marty Robbins to Stormzy, and I don't know if you went through that as well.
Uh,
Um, I just go for it.
I listened to Marty Robbins like the day after we recorded last week, or like the day after, and
Okay.
and so I didn't let it roll as I was taking
You didn't get
notes.
the
No, I didn't get the
transition.
but I can see that. Although I think Marty Robbins was more of a G than you think, bro.
Oh,
So
for sure, for sure. He Stormzy might have won the war, but he wouldn't have gone down like a bitch. Like Marty's going down shooting for sure. But yeah, so after hearing Marty Robbins, I wanted to introduce you to an artist that's important to me that you'd never heard as well. And I chose this album from Stormzy because of a text conversation we had after watching the British artist Dave do an insane show stealing performance at the Brit Awards that included a fucking flaming guitar solo. You asked me if I listen to a lot of British hip hop, and I don't really listen to a lot of it, but the artists I do listen to, I really love. I got into this style of rap because of Stormzy and because of this album. I'd heard British artists before him, but something about his music just hit me differently. The way he's able to articulate himself, the way he's able to crossfade between street bangers and gospel, the way he's able to get one of the pioneers of grime to do an interlude on this album, telling anyone hating on him because he's commercializing this style of music to fuck off because he's going to take it to new heights. He's the one that found the magic formula to make this music fun to listen to no matter what race or religion you are. And that's a really powerful thing. This album took him to heights that most artists are never going to reach. He ended up headlining Glastonbury, being the only rapper other than Jay-Z to headline the festival. Banksy designed the Union Jack bulletproof vest that he wore for the performance.
Cool.
All personal and historic. Yeah, he's actually wearing that vest on the cover of his second album, Heavy as the Head.
Neat.
But all personal and historical significance aside, I really do love the music on this album. Songs like Cold, Big for Your Boots, Mr. Skang, Return of the Rucksack, and Shut Up are the best introduction to grime music you could possibly have. They're energetic, they're infectious, they're creative, they're fucking hilarious at times. I know the more religious stuff won't be for everyone, but I think he makes it pretty palatable. This is a pivotal. This is a pivotal album just in terms of me branching out in my taste and discovering artists like Dave, who I ended up texting you. I gave this one a 9 out of 10. Cigarettes and Kush is my standout. How did you feel about it?
All right. Well, like we had talked about over text, I've never really paid attention to UK rappers. I knew of Stormzy, and I think I had maybe heard a song, but I didn't seek it out. I think it maybe had like come on some playlist or something. I was doing it. I hear some major differences between the United States, the shit that the United States is putting out, and the shit that the UK is putting out. This is clearly very important to him, and rap isn't very important to a lot of the artists, I guess, in the United States. I guess maybe there's like a palpable passion coming out of his voice when he raps, where I miss that in some of the music from the US. This is good, man. Some of the insults on Bad Boys are kind of funny because they're not really insults here.
Yeah.
But
Stupid. It's supposed to be stupid. Yes.
Oh man. All right. Well, aside from the differences between the US and the UK rap, I really did enjoy this. The gospel interludes that separate some of the gang shit kind of represent religion as like a whole to me. Be a gangster, repent, be saved and absolved, rinse and repeat. I'm not entirely sure if that's what he was going for. I doubt it. I'm sure he's probably religious and like that's awesome for him. But that's kind of I don't know. I wrote it down. But all the gospel stuff was like really well done. Everybody has great voices. There's good instrumentation throughout the entire album. There's cool beats. There's solid lyrical content everywhere. I'm not sure how much I'm going to revisit it, but I did really enjoy this. I gave it a 7. I liked Big for Your Boots.
For sure. Big for Your Boots is an absolute banger. That's a fair score. I figured you would receive it, a little bit more tepid than I did. I wasn't expecting you to be like 10 out of 10. I'm full British UK rap fan now.
Let's go.
Yeah, for sure. The passion in his voice that you talk about, though, is an interesting thing because I think that's what hooked me. It wasn't this album. That wasn't the first thing I heard. He actually did a Brit Awards performance. I think I texted you the two that he did. And the first one he did, he opened with like one of the gospel songs from this, and he had it like raining down, and he had all these like guys in ski masks behind him. And it was like this really weird visual. And he went into this freestyle. And in the freestyle, he called out Theresa May, who was, I think, part of, I'm going to butcher the whole UK hierarchy of government, but essentially there was an atrocity that happened over there called Greenfell that the government didn't respond to in a timely manner that left a lot of people in need, and they didn't seem to care. So he called them out in that freestyle, and they actually had to respond to him because of the response to it.
Good for him.
It's just a powerful thing, and he clearly comes from, like hard work, and you can hear that in his voice and in his music. This is not the last you're going to hear of Stormzy on this podcast. I will be, maybe not every week, but I'll be sprinkling some grime and UK hip hop in from here on out, just until you're caught up to speed on some of my favorite artists and albums.
Yeah,
but
hell yeah.
I think you're going to like most of it.
Yeah, do that. I did really like this. So thanks, man.
Good. I'm glad. So you ready to move on?
Yeah, let's do it.
For sure. We got one by Curren and the Alchemist called Continue It.
I'm surprised he released an album this year, man.
Yeah, not 10 by now already. Yeah, this is very measured rollout for him. I think he did 2 singles and what is it, mid-February, and he's only released 1 album. That's kind of crazy. I thought this was going to be great just based on the artist and producer pairing alone, but I haven't really been able to get into it yet. I enjoy most Currency projects, and The Alchemist is one of my favorite producers, but this one just isn't doing it for me. I'm not quite ready to give up on it yet, but it's just a mid for me. I got it like a 5 or 6. Jodeci Tape was my standout. You feeling any different?
No, I feel almost the same way, but I think I maybe like really searched into myself a little more as to why I didn't like it as much as I liked, as much as I like what Currency and The Alchemist put out both separately and together. The Alchemist beats are great, but there's no kick, bro.
Yeah,
there's like almost no kick. There's like almost no kick drum, and that to me is, I don't know, man. I think it maybe is just a little off-putting for me.
I agree. You need that bounce to it.
But I think that was, I mean, obviously that was on purpose. So I don't know, maybe, something like that. This is a Currency album. It's good. It's not great. But I think there's some fatigue when you release, 19 albums a year. It's not amazing. It's not awful. It's kind of somewhere in the middle. I think I put it at a 6.
Gotcha, man. I agree 100%.
Yep.
So next up, we got one I've been anticipating for a while, BROODS with their new album Space Island. I thought this album was really good after coming down from the almost meth-like high of the Marias and Magdalena Bay's most recent albums. I was kind of waiting to see what synth pop would give us our next hit, and this album did it for me. The songwriting and production are both top-notch. Her voice sounds great. She always seems to find the right melody for the instrumental. Tovlo was a good choice for a feature, even if that song's a little bit repetitive. The front half of the album definitely moves along a lot faster than the back half, but the whole album is solid. Heartbreak is the clear standout for me, which is no surprise since Stint helped produce that song. He's one of Gallant's main producers, which explain why that song feels so R&B. I gave this album a 7 out of 10, and yeah, Heartbreak was my favorite. How'd you feel about this album?
This is great. It's not quite at the level of Magdalena and the Marias for me. And you're right. The front half of this album really does it. The back half of the album where it gets kind of ballady is not my favorite, but I enjoyed all 32 minutes of this album, man. It was good. I gave it a 7 also. I think Distance and Drugs was my favorite.
That was a really good track as well. All right. So you ready to close this week out with Tinlicker in Another Lifetime, Brandon?
Oh, man, am I ready.
So I'm going to let you go first.
So This Is Not Our Universe is an album they put out in 2020. And there was actually, it was funny. I was leaving work and this album had just come out that day. And I was bumping it in my car, man. And I was feeling it. My head was bobbing. I was dancing a little bit, and I my eyes are closed at this red light, and I look over, and some of my employees are looking at me, laughing right next to me. But I was just mesmerized by the last album, and I was really on the fence about whether or not they were going to be able to put out a project that did anything close to what that album did for me, and this did it, bro. This is incredible, man. I really enjoyed it. I hear some growth from musically from them. They're adding some extra layers, which is really neat and really good to see. And they're still they're melodic where they need to be, but it's dark and bassy where it needs to be too. As always, they choose great vocalists, and it's all executed very well. I'm a big fan of this group, and I'm stoked we got an album. And I think you already know I pre-ordered this vinyl. I gave it a 9. It is Rebirth. The last song on the album is just special, man. What are your
Man,
thoughts?
so I'm a little different than you.
That's okay.
This one is kind of like the Currency album in that I thought I would instantly love it just based on name, but it hasn't really hit me the way I expected it to quite yet. I've been a fan of Tinlicker ever since you first showed me them with their About You EP, which actually still might be my favorite release of theirs to date. And don't get me wrong, this album is full of all the Anjuna Beats vibes I was expecting from them. And I'm not even disappointed by it a little bit. It's just not the instant classic I was personally hoping for, but I'm glad it was for you, or at least close to it. And this has happened a few times this year already for me. I felt a similar way about the Lane 8 album at first, and that one has grown on me a lot the past few weeks. The high points of the album for me are Be Here and Now, because those strings are just fucking exquisite.
They're
Come
great.
Back Home, because it's just got those mousetrap little vibes. You Take
Yep.
My Hand, though, is definitely my favorite song on the album so far. Feels like the song where everything they do well just comes together in a really harmonious way. This will definitely be in my rotation for a while, but it didn't blow me away on the first listen. I have this one at a 6 out of 10, and You Take My Hand is my favorite as of now. But I
Super fair,
imagine
man.
it'll grow on me.
And you know what, man? If it doesn't, just go back to This Is Our Universe. That's a great album.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't have to always. When people miss the old days of an artist, it's like, just go listen to the old fucking album then. Like, don't expect the artist to keep releasing the same album over and over because that's what you're a fan of. That's not the way it works.
Are you insulting my views on Bring Me the Horizon again in the
I
same
was hoping you
podcast?
would pick up my subtext there.
Right. Well, that wraps it up for the month or for the week.
This was fun, man. I'm excited to do it again already.
Yeah, bro. We will. I'm gonna throw on some Afghan wigs. You're gonna throw on some other music, and I'm excited for next week, buddy.
Yes. Like, follow, subscribe. Music by Anthony Reeder. See you next week. Peace.
Peace.